Example 4.12. Two straight lines L1 and L2 cut the y-axis at the same point Q. So since Q is on the y-axis, I can let its coordinates be 0, Q. And we want to find the value of K in part A, part 1. So perhaps we'll subpoint Q. So we can subpoint Q into L2 to find the coordinates of point Q. And then later we'll sub it back to L1 to find K. We get the coordinates of point Q, 0, 12. Next, we can subpoint Q into L1 to find K. We get K equals 5. Before we move on to part A, part 2, let's take a look at the equation of L1. Since we know K equals 5, equation of L1 becomes 3x minus 2y plus 24 equals 0. In order to find the x-intercept of L1, we'll put y equals 0. We get the x-intercept of L1, negative 8. B1, find the equation of OM. So let's see what's point M. The question says OM is the median of PQ in triangle POQ. That means M is the midpoint of P and Q. I know the coordinates of Q, 0, 12. So let's find the coordinates of P. We also know that the x-intercept of L1 is negative 8. So that means the coordinates of P would be negative 8, 0. And we can make use of that to find the coordinates of M, which is the midpoint of PQ. Here we'll make use of the midpoint formula. We'll add up the two x coordinates first and then divide by 2. Then we'll add up the two y coordinates, divide by 2. We get the coordinates of point M, negative 4, 6. So we are ready to find the equation of OM using the point M and O. So using the point M and O, I can find the slope of OM. Equation of OM is y equals negative 3 over 2x. And lastly, part B, part 2, determine whether OM is the perpendicular bisector of PQ. Explain. If OM is the perpendicular bisector, then that means OM will be perpendicular to PQ. Here I put a question mark here because we do not know whether they are perpendicular. And also, so this is the perpendicular part. We also have the bisector. The bisector part will be M is midpoint of PQ. Bisector part is okay. We know M is the midpoint of PQ because OM is the median of PQ. So that's why M is the midpoint. It's just that we have to see whether OM is perpendicular to PQ. So let's make use of the slope of OM and the slope of PQ. Using the 2 points P and Q, we can find the slope. The slope of PQ is 3 over 2. Slope of OM just now is negative 3 over 2. In order to see whether they are perpendicular, let's multiply these two slopes. we get negative 9 over 4, which negative 1. So that's why OM is not perpendicular to PQ. So even though OM bisects PQ, is not perpendicular to PQ, so therefore it's not the perpendicular bisector of PQ.